forgotten characters. Forgotten characters are nothing new in MLP, and over the years we've seen characters that have been forgotten either by the show or sometimes by the fans. But what happens when a character not only is forgotten, but completely erased? And if you think that that is impossible, well, I present to you Rarity Sweetmint, a character that was such a fresh concept at the time, but that sadly couldn't hold up to other more well-known characters at the time. But first, who is Rarity Sweetmint? Well, Rarity was a book exclusive character that appeared in The Curious Case of Rarity, and she was Rarity's apprentice in the book. She's described as a white-coat mare with a green mane and golden eyes. Rarity on the surface is like any other character in MLP, but the more you delve into who she is, the more things just get weird. Like for example, her name, and no, I'm not talking about Sweet Meat because apparently that's not her real name, but rather a nickname. But I'm talking about the name Rarity. It sounds very familiar, right? Almost like Rarity. Something that is even referenced in the book, but hey, maybe this is just a coincidence, right? Well, maybe this is not the case, as when you continue reading the story you realize that Rarity not only is a big fan of Rarity and her work, but she also wants to be her. And we actually see this happen in the story as Rarity goes to the Ponyville spa and gets a makeover to the point that other ponies think that she is Rarity. And it gets even more weird as she begins to impersonate Rarity, although not for the reason you might think of. As the reason why she was acting and looking like Rarity is because she wanted to get along with her, but more importantly, help her. And if you're confused on how would this help Rarity, well, in the book we learned that Rarity fell behind on an order for the Ponyville choir, all because she was mentoring Rarity. With Rarity noticing that Rarity is stressed out and taking it upon herself to make the delivery even if she needs to take Rarity's identity. And understandably, Rarity is weirded out and angry at her because of this, but Rarity actually decides to help her. How? Well, in the same way that Rarity tried to help her. With Rarity now dyeing her hair the same way as Rarity and even putting on one of the dresses that the both of them designed together. And with this, Rarity realizes that being your true self is all that matters and that you can't copy someone else's appearance or life. And that's how the book ends, but surprisingly this is not the last time we hear about Rarity, as she's mentioned in two other books, this being Applejack and the Honest to Goodness Switcheroo, where Rarity mentions that Rarity has been doing very well for herself with her new fashion line in Manhattan. And the other one being in Beyond Equestria, Pinkie Pie Steps Up, where we learn that someone destroyed Rarity's dresses before the Glammy Awards. But that's basically all we know about Rarity Sweetmint in MLP, and she was a cool concept at the time that she came up, and that concept would be something that we actually saw in later seasons, although in a smaller degree. But this isn't where her story ends, and surprisingly, Rarity was somewhat popular in the community, although again in a smaller degree. With one of the first things that fans did was making fan art of how would she look like if she appeared in the show. And that's not all, because she also sparked conversations and theories surrounding her and Rarity. Like for example, a theory where she was related to Rarity, and this came from the description of her cutie mark, which is described as 3 light blue heart-shaped gems, which sounds very similar to Rarity's cutie mark, although I think this was made to foreshadow the message that Rarity represents. Another popular theory surrounding Rarity was that she was originally supposed to be Coco Pommel. This theory debated that Rarity originally was meant to appear in the episode Rarity Takes Manhattan as Suri Polymer's assistant instead of Coco Pommel, but that she was scrapped in favor of Coco, which sure is a theory that could be somewhat true, because Rarity and Coco Pommel do share similarities, but I think this is just a coincidence. And this wasn't the only speculation that Rarity had, as some people thought that at one point we could see her again, but this time in the show. And some other fans even sparking darker stories and theories, like for example that Rarity secretly was stalking Rarity after the sabotage that she suffered in the Glammy Awards, or that Rarity took Rarity's place after season 5. But one of my favorite speculations that sparked out of Rarity was that she was Minty. And if you're confused on why fans mistook Rarity with Minty, is because in the Applejack and the Honest to Goodness Switcheroo, Minty makes an appearance in the book, as well as Rarity, which leads me to believe that some people just got confused and mistook them as the same character. And it doesn't help that this was before Minty's appearance in the show, which just made this rumor even more believable at the time. But unlike Minty, Rarity was never shown in the show or in any other MLP media since 2018. Or maybe she did. As in season 5 in the episode Made in Manhattan, Coco Pommel mentions a pony called Rarity Kindheart, a character that later would go into appear in the Game Love game. And while she doesn't have any similarities with Rarity aside of her name, I do think that this is a version of the Rarity we saw on the book, or at least a reference to her. But reference or not, Rarity was a pretty interesting character even if she wasn't that prominent of a character. But what do you guys think? What are your thoughts on Rarity, and is there any other character that faded away into obscurity? Leave it down in the comments, and as always remember to like the video if you enjoyed it and consider subscribing for more MLP videos like this, and as always remember to take care guys, and I'll see you in the next video.